maybe the first time I have ever agreed with something Bill Simmons has said. Let's talk about it. Hit the like button one time for me. Give me 1 million likes on this video. 1 million. We need 1 million. Subscribe to the channel. We're approaching 27,000 subscribers. And don't forget to get all the Sickos merch on runitbackphillyshop.com. 20% off code Sickos20. And all of these videos and live streams are brought to you by Game Time Ticket app. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code CLNS for $20 off. All right, let's do it. Let's just listen to what Bill Simmons said about a potential Daryl Morey firing. And we'll react to it, okay? Here he is.
You know, Bob Myers helped Washington.
They're talking about Bob Myers, by the way, for those that don't know who that is. Was the general manager of the Golden State Warriors during their best years in their franchise's history. And we'll get into that. But he also has been an advisor recently to Josh Harris, the 76ers owner. He's been an advisor to Josh Harris in Washington with the Washington Commanders. Let's hear what Bill said.
You know, Bob Myers helped Washington with the football team, right? He was on that advisory committee, and I just feel like he's looming with the Sixers thing, and I don't think I'm alone. There's been some Bob Myers Philly buzz that I think has been building because I think he had a good experience with Josh Harris. If there is a fall guy, which we talked about earlier, it's going to be Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey. You know,
Hey, I can't disagree with a couple of things here, man. I think, first of all, why would this happen? You know, you got to look at the 76ers and Josh Harris, the owner, and look at the trajectory of the Washington Commanders, right? And the nosedive of the Philadelphia 76ers, who Josh Harris also owns. And I personally think Josh Harris might sell the team. But if he doesn't, he's going to need to try to turn it around pretty quickly because you are entering an era where your profits that you have come accustomed to over the whole process era, right? Going from a $500 million franchise to a $3 billion franchise. Your profits are on the verge of going downward. And if he doesn't want to sell the team, then I think you're going to have to turn it around pretty quickly. And I think there will be a drastic move in the near future. I think Bill Simmons is right that if there is a fall guy, it will be Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse. Bob Myers is mentioned. And Bob Myers, again, was the GM of the Golden State Warriors from 2013 until 2023. And, you know, he did a lot of things, and we're going to talk about the things that he did. But Josh Harris hired Bob Myers when he bought the Washington Commanders. And Josh Harris said, I have no idea what I'm doing. And this is what he should have done with the Sixers when he first bought the Sixers. But no, him and his dumbass billionaire friends thought they were playing 2K, and they did a bunch of dumb things for 10 years. He did the right thing with the Washington Commanders. He purchased it, and he said, I'm just the guy with money. I don't know anything about what I'm doing. I need somebody to not only help me make decisions, but oversee everybody's decision-making. And Bob Myers was the guy. And Bob Myers, I mean, look at his track record, bro. The Golden State Warriors for that entire, 4 championships run with the Steph Curry, Klay Thompson teams. And then he takes the Washington Commanders from terrible to good really quickly. Drafting Jalen Daniels helps that out a lot. Or Jaden Daniels, I'm sorry, helps that out a lot. You get lucky in the draft. But it's not random is what I'm saying. And if Josh Harris looks at the Commanders and says, hey, we took this team from nothing to something really fast, and he has a close relationship with Bob Myers, who helped him do that in Washington or did it himself, and maybe Josh has been totally hands off, then I could see him saying, I have an asset that is on the verge of tanking. I need you to help me fix it. I could totally see that. Now, I see some people, reacting to the Bob Myers rumors and saying it would be a lateral move. Well, I'm here to tell you a couple of things probably that Bob Myers did that I don't feel like it's a lateral move. The Golden State Warriors drafted Steph Curry in 2009, I believe. They drafted Klay Thompson in 2011, I believe. And Bob Myers, you had the luxury of having two of the greatest shooters of all time on the same team. But he built around that team perfectly. Perfectly. The 76ers have failed to build around Joel Embiid. I shouldn't even say have failed. They did fail to build around Joel Embiid for his whole career because I believe his career is on the verge of being over. If Bob Myers was the GM, back when Joel Embiid was first drafted, would they have drafted 3 centers in a row? Probably not. Would they have drafted players that fit around him? Would he have drafted Ben Simmons in 2016? No, he might have drafted Brandon Ingram. You know what I mean? He might have drafted Jaylen Brown. So I think there's definitely things you could say, anyone could have taken the Warriors to a championship. I think there's definitely things Bob Myers did with the Golden State Warriors that other GMs just didn't have the ability or would not have done. I think he sees things. He sees things ahead of time in a winning way. It seems like he has a knack for that when you look at the Golden State Warriors and you look at the Washington Commanders and what he's done in just a short amount of time. The 2016 Golden State Warriors, by the way, had a bench that would have beat most teams in the NBA by themselves. Remember that bench? Andre Iguodala, Leandro Barbosa, Sean Livingston. That team was stacked. And a lot of it had to do with Bob Myers. Then, of course, he signed Kevin Durant to that team. Now, I'm not going to give him credit for that. That was Kevin Durant wanted to go to the Warriors, and you said yes because you had the cap space. That's simple. But, I think Bob Myers is a world's better GM than Daryl Morey. What has Daryl Morey ever done besides trade for James Harden out of OKC and then trade for big name after big name after big name and flub the Ben Simmons trade because he wanted James Harden back past his prime and then sign Paul George to a max contract after he sat on Tobias Harris for six years? I don't know how people are saying this will be a lateral move. Would Bob Myers even want this job? Because if you look at when he stepped into the GM as the Golden State Warriors, they had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and a ton of cap space. That was a perfect situation. Here's the two players that are our future. Yeah, he stepped into the Golden State Warriors with cap space and two future stars that he was ready to build around. It was a perfect timing situation. The Sixers are in turmoil, and they have a Paul George and Joel Embiid contract that go two contracts that go until 2028, 2029, and these guys look washed, dried, folded, and put away in 2024. So I don't know how Bob Myers would step in here and, eradicate that situation. So which makes me say, would he even want to do this? But he stepped down to Golden State Warriors 2023. These kind of people, they already made a ton of money. And, the success of turning something around, I think, is a lot of times what they chase. And if he's bored in what he's doing right now, he's only 49 years old. He might say, this is a new challenge that I can tackle. And he might be interested in it. For real. If Bob Myers is interested in this job, I think they 100% absolutely should do it. And it's not a lateral move. This is like if you're in a toxic relationship, you're saying, I should just stay here because if I get a new girl, she's going to cheat on me too. No, you got to try something else, bro. Get out of there. Try something else. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but you got to try something else. And I think Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse are going to be the fall guys for this. Hopefully it happens sooner than later. But I'm all for Josh Harris hiring Bob Myers as the 76ers GM. You give me your opinion on the situation. And now just the last thing I want to talk about is this. Ben Simmons made a comment yesterday on a podcast that has young Philly fans saying, come back home, come back to the Sixers, come back to... Here's what he said. Listen.
As you're sort of, reaching these different stages of your career, what are the things you kind of think?
Reaching these different stages of your career. What different stages, bro? His career's about to be over next year.
Think about if you were to put like a capsule on it.
Like for me, going to a city like Philadelphia was like I'm from Melbourne, Australia, went to Louisiana, like completely different places. Like the fans, like I didn't appreciate the fans enough. Like the fans of Philadelphia are incredible. Like you always want to play for a team that has a good fan base, whether they're booing or whatever. You just want fans to care. You want the arena packed. So
this is what I try, bro. I yelled this at Ben Simmons for years when he was talking about if you're booing, stay on that side. If you're booing, stay on that side. And I was like, Philly fans care. You should enjoy that. Bryce Harper loves getting booed. Jalen Hurts loves when they boo the Eagles if they're having a terrible first half or something, because he loves the fact that they care. Then you go to a team like Brooklyn where nobody gives a shit, not even the players on your own team. Yeah. Where are the fans at? Exactly. So I agree with what he said.
Having that experience in Philadelphia was amazing. Like I'm so grateful to have played there and got to experience the city of Philly and know what it.
But I want to say this. The people that are like, oh, come back to Philly, come back. No. First of all, no. Okay? Because Ben Simmons is bad. Have you seen him play recently? He's averaging 4 points per game. You guys are so stuck on what he looked like his first 2 years in the league, and you think he can get back to that. He can't get back to that because he never cared. That was natural athleticism and skill, and he never had the drive. He never had the work ethic to take it to the next level or to even maintain that level. The NBA shook him as soon as they started guarding him with centers 20 feet away from the rim. The NBA shook him, and he didn't have what it takes to take it to the next level or maintain that. And he's never going to get back to that. I do appreciate what he's saying about Philly fans, but I think, number one, fuck no. Ben Simmons never coming back to Philly, not because we shouldn't want him back or not because he doesn't want to come back here or there's a toxic relationship, because he's not good. You understand? Number two, I think Ben Simmons one day is going to regret his entire career because his mentality held him back. His cocky, arrogant, self-righteous, defiant, spoiled brat ass mentality held him back. He does not have the ability to look in the mirror. It seems like he's starting to look in the mirror now, which is sad because I think eventually he's going to look in the mirror completely and say, wow, I was a 6'11", 250-pound, 19-year-old kid with the ability to become the next Magic Johnson at least, or the next LeBron James. But I didn't have what it took mentally, and I wasted something that very few people ever have. 6'11" with that speed, athleticism, and ball skills, I'm going to go out on a limb and say nobody's ever had that. Magic Johnson was 6'9". There's never been a player. You name me a player right now who was 6'11" and could do what Ben Simmons was doing as a rookie. 30-point triple doubles, running end to end like a fucking gazelle. I actually think he's the only player that's ever had that combination of size, speed, agility, and ball skills. And he wasted it. And I think one day he's going to regret that very much. But thank you for finally saying Philly fans are great. You were the dumbass. And now he's starting to see it, and he's not going to be able to get it back. I think that's all I wanted to say. Y'all have a good day, man. I'm out.